Hi, so welcome everyone. My name is Katie Baker. I am a communications professional here today on behalf of Virginia AFL-CIO, as well as some wonderful labor unions whom we have on this call. And you'll hear at this press conference from several different public service workers who will be calling on the Virginia Senate to kill legislation that was passed earlier this week by the GOP-controlled House that would repeal the historic legislation that was passed in 2020 that empowered localities to give their public sector employees the freedom to collectively bargain. I really want the focus to be on the workers and not on me. So with no further ado, I will go ahead and introduce our first speaker, who is Kurt Dietrich.
Hey, good morning. My name is Kurt Dietrich. I'm the 6th District Vice President for the Virginia Professional Firefighters, and that represents just over 9,000 firefighters and paramedics across Virginia. The 6th District represents Hampton Roads region of Virginia. So, we're here, obviously, we support strong collective bargaining for our workers. It was a huge step forward that Virginia repealed that prohibition and allowed us the opportunity to really begin working with our local governments to have a fair seat at the table. Really, at the end of the day, that's what, in our line of work, our firefighters and paramedics are asking for. We're the first line of defense, and in the end of the service delivery, the local government to its citizens. And the way that the setup is currently working, we don't
okay, I'm sorry, Lisa, could you mute yourself, please? I'm sorry, Kurt. Thank you.
All right. The way the current structure is set up, where we don't have collective bargaining rights in every locality and an ability to sit down and have meaningful discussions and work on workplace issues and safety, is really a disadvantage not only to the employees in the fire service, but also the citizens that we serve. We're on the service end of that delivery. We're the ones that are going into homes and helping people, transporting them to the hospitals, not just through this pandemic, but at all times, throughout, since we've had fire departments formed professionally. So our position and what we look for whenever we have the ability to bargain is to sit down and advocate for proper staffing levels, make sure we have the right equipment, and that our workforce is trained and treated fairly and equitably, so that we can make sure that we're providing the best services to the communities. The firefighters and paramedics are the subject matter experts on the issues within our professions. It's not necessarily the administrators who make the day-to-day decisions on how we operate. So by not allowing us to have that formal structure and seat at the table does a great disservice to the public. Collective bargaining and as agreement, it's a shared commitment and roadmap for how collaborative decision-making processes will work between the employer and the employee. We all have some skin in the game, and we feel like we should have that chance to sit down and bring valid concerns up and work through them together collaboratively. Without an avenue for that to be addressed, the workers and the public are the ones on the service side that suffer the most from that. We agree that the citizens deserve the best schools, the safest communities, and the strongest emergency services, and part of that is by allowing us to have a fair seat at the table. On the fire department side, we have many localities across Virginia are already organized under the International Association of Firefighters. So the next step would be to allow us to be represented by our chosen union with our local government and have that seat at the table. So we're really hoping that the Senate will continue to stand with Virginia's first responders and the workforce and the working families and to have our backs on this so that we can continue to make progress and having that fair seat at the table. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Kurt. Our next speaker will be Tammy Wandong Ware.
Good morning. My name is Tammy Wandong Ware. I'm a Fairfax County employee. I've worked for the county for well over 30 years, helping children, families, and older adults get the quality public services they need to live with dignity. I'm also a taxpayer, a mother, and a grandmother. I'm active at my church, my sorority, and in my community as well. And I'm also always proud to serve as the Fairfax chapter president of SEI Virginia 512. My coworkers and I, we love the work that we do, supporting the local families, and it's never been more important. During this pandemic, essential public service workers like me and my colleagues have been on the front lines of keeping our communities healthy and safe. We have provided vital services, childcare, transportation, sanitation, mental health services, and so much more. We have been called essential, but not always treated as essential. Years without raises and lack of rights on the job have made it hard to care for our own families as we serve the community. That's why we've partnered with the General Assembly to repeal Virginia's ban on collective bargaining for local government employees. Fairfax County, where I work, passed a meaningful collective bargaining last fall. I personally put a lot of time working with the county to get this done because I know that collective bargaining is a powerful tool to ensure good union jobs and quality services for all people. Collective bargaining also means that I will have a voice on the job. During this pandemic, I have been reassigned to different jobs without any input or training. I've been told to do the work of someone else who got paid more, but without any increase in my pay. My coworkers also face challenges. I heard from one coworker who provides critical child care education services, but she struggles with homelessness. And I've heard from another coworker who contracted COVID on the job and had to burn through all of her leave to recover. For all these reasons and more, we look forward to getting to the bargaining table with Fairfax County this year so we can protect all working families in our community. We are also struggling with high turnover rates. Knowing that we can bargain is the only thing that keeps some of my coworkers in their job. That's why it's critical that we protect our progress for Virginia's working families by protecting our essential collective bargaining rights. We're calling on the state Senate to defeat House Bill 883 and all the bills that would take away or weaken our voice for change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tammy. Next, we will have Luis Velez Sr.
Hi, everybody. My name is Luis Velez Sr. I am a construction management specialist with Arlington County, and I'm also a local member of ASME Local 3001. When the county engages in construction projects, my coworkers and I are the essential workers who continue to build and develop Arlington County. I've been a dedicated public employee for almost 23 years, first in Puerto Rico with the Aqueduct and Sewer Authority, and now for Arlington County. I believe every person who works to make their community safer, stronger, and better deserves respect. As a resident of Alexandria, I was proud to stand with Alexandria City employees as they won a strong collective bargaining ordinance. I was even more excited a few months later as an Arlington County employee when we passed our own collective bargaining ordinance. City and county employees are now moving towards a more collaborative environment between our administration and our employees. That is why I was very disappointed when Virginia legislators introduced House Bill 883 that aimed to repeal collective bargaining and the other bills that wanted to chip away our employee rights and the freedom to join a union. We cannot afford to go backwards. I'm urging our elected officials in the Virginia Senate to dismiss these bills. We have a lot of work to do as our localities continue to recover from the pandemic, and we are stronger when public employees are respected, have a voice on the job, and a strong union to advocate for the communities that we serve. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luis. And our final speaker will be Mr. Daryl Turner.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Daryl Turner. I teach at Blackwell Preschool Center. I teach 3- and 4-year-olds in Richmond, Virginia. I also serve as the Vice President of the Richmond Education Association. We are the local union of the Virginia Education Association for Richmond Public Schools. I believe that the work in public education, it's critical to our future, not only for our children, but for our families, our communities, the state, and the nation too. And I'm just proud of the way all of my colleagues all across the state and in my local have just stepped up to meet the incredibly difficult challenges presented to us by the COVID pandemic. We kept our young people learning, in many cases, helped them to meet food, shelter, safety needs too. So public schools have been absolutely essential in helping us to get through all of this. In Richmond, back in December, our school board agreed to work with us to begin the process of collective bargaining. We were the first local to gain a collective bargaining resolution in over 44 years. This is an amazing step forward for everyone, because when educators and school divisions negotiate contracts, it results in better schools, and that's better for our students, our families, and our community. We work with students every day, and by having a voice at the table, we can help them to get some of what they need most, which are better learning conditions through steps like better staffing, smaller class sizes, and better technology and supplies. Though our bargaining process has not yet officially begun, we've already seen great progress in the morale of public school educators in our city. We feel more respected, valued, and optimistic about the future. We feel like we'll be treated like the professionals that we are. Given everything that is happening in the General Assembly right now, we must not allow the General Assembly to move backward. We must protect our hard-fought rights to negotiate our contracts. Those rights are far too important, both to us and to our communities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daryl, and thank you to all the workers for sharing your stories. At this time, I see several reporters who are on, so I just wanted to go ahead and open it up for questions. You can feel free to either drop it in the chat or just unmute yourself and ask.
Hey, this is Amy Knowles with the Dogwood. And for people who have never collectively bargained before, how do you prepare for those types of negotiations?
That's a great question, Amy. I don't know if one of the workers wanted to jump in, or certainly one of the union leaders can take that. Kurt, I think I saw you raise your hand.
Yeah, I know for the firefighter union, the International Association of Firefighters has training in place through our international that's available to the state affiliates and then the local affiliates on contract negotiation, economic research and data, model contract language. It's a large undertaking and process, and that's why the union's so important, because we're allowed to we collaborate together, and it gives us that training that we need to do that.
Wonderful. Did any of the other union leaders want to comment on that?
Maybe I'll just jump in real quick. David Broder, SEIU. I think what's so critical, right? The power of collective bargaining is that it brings the voices of frontline workers to the table. And it's frontline workers who know best how to deliver services effectively, where the real cost savings are, what the community needs, how to keep workers safe. What is going to help with recruitment and retention? That is, I think, what is so critical about collective bargaining. And so, Amy, thanks so much for the question. In addition to all that Kurt laid out, and he's right, what's also really critical, and I know every union member and leader on this call is doing right now, is making sure that the voice of every worker is heard. So lots of conversations, lots of surveys, making sure that every department is represented, that every voice is at the table. So that when we get to the bargaining table, that amazing expertise and knowledge that you've heard today, from Tammy, Daryl, Kurt, and Louise is represented, so we can have a strong contract.